And a good afternoon. This is at 4:32. Matt Ernst here at KCBD.com. Also, Facebook and YouTube have a severe thunderstorm that is southwest of Lubbock, and it's moving east at about 20 miles per hour. So we've been keeping a close eye on this thunderstorm. That the most intense part of it now looks like it's just south of sundown. I want to give you a live perspective on this storm. This is from meteorologist Adam Young. He's a little bit north of Brownfield, and he's been watching this storm over the past hour. He's noticed the hail core with it, and certainly I can hear, I'm reading all the comments here, have heard a little bit of the light rain here in Lubbock. Lubbock, the city itself, the city limits, we are not under a severe thunderstorm warning. I want to let you know that, of course, Lubbock has grown a whole lot, so maybe not within the city limits itself, but you can see the extent of the warning that comes up about to Woodrow Road. We'll go in a little bit closer here on radar. Let me move a couple things around real quick to get you oriented here, and I'll answer some of the questions here on the stream as well. Asking, let's see, when's this going to come to Slayton? And that's a good question, Darla, because it is southern Lubbock County more likely to see this severe storm. So let me zoom in a little bit closer here on the radar and let you know that the storm moving east at about 20 miles per hour. That's 1-inch hail potential around Ropesville based on what we've seen here. A little bit north of Needmore at 4:08, the Weather Service relayed 1/2-inch hail. But let me reorient things here for Lubbock and show you that we've had a little bit of light rain here in Lubbock. The city itself is not under a severe thunderstorm warning, but the warning does come south of Wolforth and right here pretty much along 1585. So defining the city limits, some of it goes right down there to 130th Street or just south of there, 1585. That's the extent of the warning. Maybe some 1-inch hail moving through Ropesville right now. That's where we've seen some of the purple just west of Ropesville. South of Lockettville, more likely for some hail there. The most intense part is also where there's likely the most energy, and that's where Adam is moving on this thunderstorm, northwest of Brownfield, north of Tokyo, northwest of Gomez. Here's a live perspective on what he is seeing right there. And again, we've noticed this is an environment where the storm will be able to rotate, a lot of energy available. So we do expect this to support 1.5, maybe 2-inch hail as that thunderstorm is moving east at about 20 miles per hour. We'll go back to radar in just a moment to give you a storm track on both the most intense part of the storm and just kind of the general line of thunderstorms as they're moving off to the east. But this is Adam's perspective right now in northwestern Terry County. So we'll come back to the radar in just a bit. Thank you for joining us here. We're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, KCBD.com. We'll come back to Adam's perspective in just a second, but this is showing that leading line of rainfall. Again, the storm is moving east at about 20 miles per hour, so when you can expect the rain to actually move on in, and maybe you hear some of the rumbles of thunder, maybe some small hail with it. That is showing it moving east here. We get to New Home near the top of the hour. I mean, it's raining already in New Home, but where it gets a little bit more intense past the top of the hour, Slayton about 5:45 or so. So that's kind of the leading edge, but that's not the most impactful area that we're watching right now. That's going to be on the southwestern edge. So let me drop this first storm track and show you. Let's go from this hail core here, and we'll expand that out. It's moving kind of southeast, 20 miles per hour. That would show it Lockettville just past the top of the hour, Meta about 5:26 or so. So that's the more impactful part of the hail on the western edge of that line of thunderstorms. So just wanted to jump on here. There are going to be times where you don't hear audio, and I'll back this out in just a second to give you all of the South Plains. We're about to do an update on KCBD. John will have that here in just a few minutes, and obviously just wrapped up our newscast. But Adam is out there right now keeping a close eye on the most intense part. This is in northwestern Terry County. Going back to radar can show you that we do have thunderstorms elsewhere across the South Plains. These are moving to the east. Speed today is going to be about 20 miles per hour or so. You can see additional severe warnings out in Lee County, a couple different warnings out that direction. And we do have a severe thunderstorm watch in place for Lubbock and roughly the southern half of the area. That goes until 11 o'clock tonight, shown in the green right there. So that means if you're in the watch area, you could see a severe thunderstorm this evening. Not everyone in the watch is going to get rain. Not everyone's going to get severe weather, but that's the heads up that comes with the watch. And also, there's a big difference in the temperature. Temperatures dropped into the 70s here in Lubbock. It is 90 at Seminole, 88 at Lamesa. It is a lot warmer to the south, so a lot more energy. And that boundary is just south of Lubbock. When we have boundaries like this, we have to watch to help organize these storms and help them rotate more. Dew point in the 60s, so there's a lot of humidity as well. So that's why we're watching the storms that right now are out over the just south of Lubbock, moving to the east at about 20 miles per hour or so. We'll have another update. You'll see that update here that we do on TV, here on the live stream as well. So at times you won't be hearing audio, but trust me, we are here. We're watching the storms, and we'll be with you here through this afternoon and this evening. So thanks for joining us here on Facebook, on YouTube, and KCBD.com. Also, if you want to watch on, put it up on the big TV, be sure to download the KCBD Connected TV app. Go to live events, and you can watch our coverage right here as well. So we will be back here in just a few minutes with our next update.
This update sponsored by Cantex Roofing. This is a First Alert Severe Weather Update.
Good afternoon, this is meteorologist John Robinson. We're going to take a look, first of all, we're obviously showing 7-day, but we want to show you our meteorologist Adam Young. He's out north of Brownfield right now checking the storm system, and there is a thunderstorm watch currently in effect in the areas from Lubbock to Morton, Brownfield, down to Hobbs, Seminole, Lamesa, back over to Snyder. And that's where most of the thunderstorm activity has been located at this point. You can tell on Doppler radar, look at the large area of thunderstorms here southwest of Lubbock, but really the severe part of this thunderstorm kind of following along a frontal boundary that has been edging its way across the South Plain. So we have some potential pockets here where there may be 1 to 2 inch size hail in the region. And you can see particularly back out to the northwest of 137 and northwest of the community of Gomez. This storm tracking generally south to southeast, and we're keeping a close eye on that, not only for large hail, but very heavy rainfall. These storms have the potential of winds possibly up to 60 miles an hour as they make their way through Terry County, working their way over towards Lynn County and back up towards southeast Lubbock County. The storm is not a threat to Lubbock right now, although we're getting some showers here in the city. And you can see back to our northwest, west of Meadow, there could be some large hail there as well. We'll try again. I believe we've got meteorologist Adam Young coming up right now, and he's out chasing, as I mentioned, just to the north of Brownfield, and just gives you an idea of the intensity of this storm. Now, thunderstorm watch in effect means any of these storms that develop may have the potential of producing up to 1 to 2 inch size hail and maybe even winds over 60 miles an hour. Isolated tornado development is possible with these storms, so we'll watch these, especially they continue to work their way into the warmer temperatures to the south, because the frontal boundary to the south, very warm temperatures there. Around Lubbock, just some shower activity. The thunderstorm core here down to the south and southwest, there is a warning in effect for the areas. It looks like that's around Lovington area. Also another storm possibly tracking towards Tatum. Nothing around Hobbs at this point, but we'll see additional activity continuing. We'll have an update coming at 5. Stay with us for weather coverage you can count on.
This update sponsored by Cantex Roofing. This has been a First Alert Severe Weather Update.
Bringing audio back here, Matt in the First Alert Forecast Center. Want to let you know that that is meteorologist Adam Young keeping a close eye on the thunderstorm that is just north of Brownfield, west of Needmore, and is a thunderstorm that's pretty intense at this point. Likely at least golf ball, maybe 2-inch diameter hail with that storm. Two different hail cores we're watching closely right now. That is the one that is on top of Meta and the other one just northwest of Brownfield. That one northwest of Brownfield is what Adam is keeping a close eye on. So that's the storm right now. Then we can give you the live perspective here. Adam's actually just turned around and keeping a close eye on that storm in northwestern, kind of north central Terry County now. So that's the storm that Brownfield, the severe warning is just north of you. We're keeping a close eye on this storm because it is moving more southeasterly. So it'll be something to watch closely for Brownfield over the next about 30, 45 minutes or so. Here in Lubbock, it is just a little bit of rain. Nothing severe here. We're on the cooler side of things. Let me see if we have any more questions here on the stream we need to come back to. Yeah, Darla mentioned sometimes these storms are scary looking. They can be. We certainly don't want to cause any undue alarm or anything like that. Just always want to be here to update you and let you know what the storms are doing and where they're moving across the area. So resetting for Lubbock and the South Plains, you can see coming into Lubbock, we are not most of the city itself. Within the city, it's just a little bit of rain over south parts of Lubbock. But as you expand this across Lubbock County, you can see along and south of 1585, that's the northeastern edge of that warning. You have to go farther south and west to see where the hail cores are on top of Meta, and the other one just northwest of Brownfield, west of Needmore. Let me see the latest update here from the Weather Service on this severe warning, and they're continuing it now for potential for 2-inch diameter hail for the storm southeast of Lockettville, 9 miles north of Brownfield, moving southeast at 20 miles per hour. So that's why we're watching that storm closely. Here's the perspective again from Adam. In northwestern Terry County, that's the most intense part of this storm. Starting to see some heavy rainfall there, so just wanted to drop in real quick and let you know what's going on with the storm. We're gathering some additional information right now. We'll have our full update coming up on the 5 o'clock news here just a few minutes away. But again, severe warning here for Terry, northwestern Lynn, far southwestern Lubbock, and southern Hockley counties. Darla had asked, is there any rotation with this storm? Yeah, that's why we're seeing the hail with it, is the rotation, and the western storm is the most intense one that we're keeping a close eye on at the current time. Again, moving more kind of southeasterly or east-southeasterly at about 20. We do have additional storms out, one trying to form north of Seagraves, additional severe storms out across eastern New Mexico, moving east-southeast, all of those at about 20 miles per hour. So those will affect at least the southern South Plains. North of Lubbock, it's in the 60s, so you're in the stable air. That's why the severe thunderstorm watch is over the southern part of the area, because of the potential here for the larger size hail. So again, let me load this back right here and show you that severe watch goes until 11 o'clock for the southern South Plains. Full update coming up here at 5 o'clock. You'll see that video right here. For now, no audio on the stream. Just had that question right here. Let me see who just had asked it. Dakota was asking, is there a tornado? Here's a live look right now. We have a close eye on it. No tornado at this point with this storm, but it is producing some larger hail and is a storm that is, could produce likely at least golf ball, maybe 2-inch diameter hail northwest of Brownfields. That's why we're keeping a close eye on this thunderstorm. We'll have much more coming up here in just a few minutes.
Coverage you can count on. This is KCBD News Channel 11 at 5.
Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us as several severe thunderstorm warnings have already been issued on this first alert weather day.
Our weather team is tracking those storms closely as they develop across parts of the South Plains. Let's get to John and Matt for the very latest.
Christy, in case we do have severe thunderstorms generally south and southwest of Lubbock. We're looking at one of those down in the Terry County area. Just missed Lubbock. It brought us some rainfall, but nothing significant. This is from our First Bank and Trust view looking back to the southwest. A very intense thunderstorm there. It potentially has hail up to 3 inches in diameter. It's about 6 miles north of Brownfield. There is a thunderstorm watch in effect. Still includes Lubbock, all the way over to Morton, all the way down to Seminole, Lamesa, back to Snyder, Jayton, and Post, and even Lee County. And you can see some intense thunderstorms in New Mexico headed this way. But this is the one we're really concerned with here, just south of Meadow. Look at the area of large hail potentially there. But back in this region is where you may find some hail up to 3 inches or larger, and that's according to the Lubbock National Weather Service at this point. In fact, we had some reported by a group down in that area, and that would be over 3-inch size hail. Portion of storm tracking south, and you can see north of that even some large hail potential, at least over 1, maybe 2 inches in diameter along Highway 62, and again that is just south of Meta. Both of those are tracking southeast, and it looks like the rainfall is just about in Brownfield. The warning with that storm extends all the way down to the south and southeast of that region. We've got a couple of live units out right now. Let's take in with meteorologist Adam Young out and see what he's got now. He's right in the Brownfield area, going a little bit west, watching the area at the kind of west-southwest end of that storm system to see if anything should develop there. And there's been some intense rainfall, some dust, the high winds associated with that. And again, he's watching that closely, a little bit closer to Lubbock though. We've also got Julio out checking the areas, watching from our vantage point here, again looking down to the areas around severe weather where it may move into that region. This is South Lubbock County, by the way. And as far as back to our radar, we'll show you what's going on just quickly here. And once again, a severe thunderstorm tracking southeast. The thunderstorm watch still in effect there, Christy, in case, and we'll have more information coming up in a few minutes.
Okay, thank you, John. And if weather cooperates in Oklahoma City, we're just about an hour away from the first time the Red Raider softball team plays in the College World Series.
Pete Christie joins us live from Oklahoma City with a look at what Texas Tech is up against in this historic run. And Pete, you're battling some weather there as well.
Yeah, they're up against the weather. The early games are done. Texas beat Florida 3-0, and then it looked like Oklahoma was going to lose. They hit a 3-run walk-off homer to beat Tennessee 4-3. But let's just show you the field right here, right now. They have it covered. Rain coming down. There's been some lightning in the area. You see on the board, severe weather is approaching. We will provide updates. Tech's scheduled to play at 6 tonight. That probably not going to happen. But the team did get the practice yesterday here at Devon Park, getting ready for Ole Miss. Ole Miss knocked off the 4-seed Arkansas to get here. Both teams first time ever coming here. So you want to make a good first impression, but Jerry Glasgow talked about how good Ole Miss is.
Give Coach Traxel credit for making those hires and then giving freedom to when you get a new staff like that, you have to let them work. You have to let them coach, and she's turned them loose and let them coach, obviously. And you got to give her a tip of the big tip of the hat. And the results, they've just gotten better and better and better. And they're playing with a lot of fire, and they're playing with a lot of freedom, and they're playing with a lot of emotion and joy. They're a dangerous ball club right now, and I see a bunch of kids that are talented, but enormously free and loose on the field.
History going to be made tonight as Texas Tech will play in the Women's College
headed for Denver City, but it looks like it's not severe at this point. We'll watch this storm. It may stay strong as it makes its way into the plains area. Otherwise, nothing around Lubbock that's significant, or our eastern areas, or even to our north. And again, this is that severe thunderstorm watch in effect till 11 o'clock tonight. It does include Lubbock, still includes the Morton area, all the way to Seminole, back to Snyder, and all the way down to the Hobbs area. And a quick look at temperatures showing 70 degrees here in Lubbock, 60s in Plainview. Look at the difference. The frontal boundary moving through has been the trigger for the storms, and it's along that boundary allowing that storm to track south and southeast. So that's why you see those thunderstorms located there. Again, south of Lubbock, but the potential of the large hail in that region all the way down in the southwestern corner near the community of Wellman, but the hail again extending all the way up to the northeast of Brownfield. So severe weather will continue off and on. Take a look at that 7-day forecast. You'll see a morning low upper 50s, tomorrow upper 70s. I know we're about 70 now in Lubbock, so it'll be a little warmer tomorrow afternoon, but the rain chances are low. Looks like about 90 degrees Saturdays. We turn around, rain chances are going down Saturday, Sunday. Back up on Monday with some severe potential, and then about 95 to the 80s next week, Christie and Case. But again, thunderstorm watch still includes Lubbock, but right now the severe threat is to our south.
Okay, thanks so much, John.
We still have strong to severe thunderstorms around the South Plains. We're looking here from Avenue A. Again, there's the loop. Looking down south, that's the thunderstorm cluster working its way into Lynn County, moving mostly over the Terry County area, but really nothing around Lubbock except a moderate shower west of us, right along the Lubbock and Hockley County line. Down south, very intense thunderstorm, a large area of thunderstorm activity from just south of Meta, and you can see the hail has moved through Brownfield for the most part. May still be some there. One point, there were reports of at least 2-inch size hail, possibly up to 3 inches or bigger with this storm. Tracking southeast at about 20 miles an hour. The storm extends west towards Wellman, but that part of the storm is not under the warning. Strictly right here, so all of the folks down southeast of Brownfield, the storm is tracking down towards the southeastern corner of Terry County, moving into the western areas of Lynn County, and especially along 380. It looks like some moderate rain down at Newmore, so biggest threat will be some large hail, some moderate to heavy rainfall, but some wind gusts possibly of 60 miles an hour. We've still got our meteorologist Adam Young down in that area watching that storm system. I think we can take a quick look at that, and then we can come back and you can see again. He's been moving around watching the intensity of storm, obviously the base of the storm, to see if anything's going on. But you can see some movement there, obviously kind of losing in and out on the signal, but he's in a position to let us know if anything should develop with that as far as hail, heavy rainfall, or additional severe weather in that particular area. We'll come back to Doppler radar as you take a look at that. Here's a track I think Matt put on there, and you can see how this radar, the core of that hail, will be headed down through Dawson County towards Hancock, back into the southwestern corner of Borden County, and these thunderstorms will continue off and on for the next few days, few hours I should say, and there'll be a continuing chance possibly of more thunderstorms, at least going into the weekend, but the chances are down. Tomorrow looks relatively calm. Right now, all this activity is kind of south and southwest of Lubbock.
Okay, thanks so much, John.
And thanks for joining us.
Have a great
And you're taking a look here. This is meteorologist Adam Young about just a few miles south of Brownfield. He's watching that thunderstorm, the most intense one that has produced some at least 2-inch diameter hail. Actually, at least an isolated report earlier north of Brownfield, larger than 3 inches. And actually, our Julio, who's been in southern Lubbock County, just stopped in New Home. So he's been into northern Lynn County and spoke to a lady who said she was on FM 211 when she got caught in the hail, had some golf ball size hail reported there. So just wanted to come on here to the stream to show you that Adam has been watching this storm for, I guess, now past a couple of hours when it first formed near Levelland and has been making its way down to the southeast. So when John talked to him at 5 o'clock, about 5:15, during our newscast, Adam said, he's seen it producing pretty well structured hail core. So it obviously has produced some large hail as it's moved southeasterly and likely produced some fairly large hail in Brownfield. Probably have some hail damage there. Give you an idea of where this thunderstorm is. He's south of Brownfield, and you can see the hail core itself is moving southeast. So it's moving toward Welch. Moving southeast, probably now closer to about 25 miles per hour. The Weather Service in Midland has posted a warning now for Dawson and far northeastern Gaines County. And then Lubbock, because the county line delineation between the offices is Terry to Gaines and Dawson. So the Lubbock office will issue a small little part of Terry County for what's left. The thunderstorm moving southeast will pick it up to about 25 miles per hour now and get it into Welch just past the top of the hour. So if you're in or around Welch, you can expect at least golf ball size hail. But again, this storm has produced some larger hail than that. That's the track on it. Going back to what Adam has on it, obviously lots of gusty wind. So that is, and you can see he just passed a mobile Doppler radar, a Dow, Doppler on wheels. It's out there. A lot of researchers have been in our region over the past few weeks, which is pretty common this time of year to head to the South Plains. But certainly have been a lot of weather observers out there, weather trackers, chasers, what have you. And you can see he's passing lots of them right now south of Brownfield. And the environment out there, it's going to be areas south from here where there's a lot more energy. Going back to what radar shows right now, again, you can see this new warning that's been issued for southeastern Terry, southwestern Lynn goes until 6:15, and then Dawson County, including Lamesa, under a severe thunderstorm warning until 6:30. Back in the south, we do have at least one storm trying to go up. It's actually pretty impressive in just to the west of Meta and just southwest of Ropesville, just south of the Hockley County line. It's where the first storm went through, and the temperatures in the 60s. It's actually pretty impressive because the upper level support isn't all that strong today. It's the energy and the convergence along the front that has helped get thunderstorms to fire up. Flash flood warning around Tatum. That's another severe storm there. It's produced a lot of rain as well. It's going to continue southeast, so probably toward Denver City over the next 30 to 60 minutes, and then additional storms from Hobbs down to Eunice. As far as what's happening here in Lubbock, you can see, well, things are actually pretty quiet right here. It's cloudy. It's cool. This is looking to our south here from 98th and University. Much different picture from what Adam has right now. Here's a look at Adam down to the south of Brownfield. A whole lot of dust being kicked up. That's the strong wind being kicked out by the storms. That's the perspective here Adam Young has south of Brownfield. And that dust has gotten pretty thick. So that's the perspective there. We'll come back one more quick check of the radar here. He's going to reposition as he watches that storm down there in Terry County. Going back to what the radar has, the most intense storm is southeast of Brownfield, moving toward Welch. That warning includes Lamesa. Storm is moving southeast. I believe it's still, let's see, last check was about 20, 25 miles per hour. Let's see, yeah, still southeast at about 20 for that destructive storm with the large hail with it right now southeast of Brownfield. And you can see the wind that it's kicked up. That's what Adam is dealing with right now. So south of Brownfield definitely have quite a bit of dust that's being kicked up. Going back to the radar presentation here to orient you where this is. Again, this is south of Lubbock. Lubbock's in the quieter side of things here. We are under a severe thunderstorm watch, but the greater energy, greater organization is down to our south. Some questions here about what Lamesa can expect with that thunderstorm. Because you're in the severe warning now, we'll track this out ahead and let you know. It'll be closer to about 6:30, but that is a storm that has produced quite a bit of golf ball size hail, but at times up to baseball. Not sure it'll be that large when it gets down that direction, but that's why the Weather Service has issued the severe warning for Dawson and northeastern Gaines County. Potential now for 80-mile-per-hour wind and maybe up to 3-inch diameter hail. So we can give you an early heads up in Lamesa. It'll be closer to about 6:30. Could be sooner than that, maybe 6:15 if the storm does start racing a little bit more. But it has a lot of wind with it and a lot of hail. Also a lot of dust, because here is a live look at what Adam is seeing right now as that thunderstorm is moving toward Lamesa. So we'll keep a close eye on it. More updates to come here. We'll keep the stream going and let you know as things change right here at kcbd.com, also on our Facebook and YouTube pages as well.
We also have our meteorologist Adam Young down in and around that area, so he'll be tracking down to see. And here's a live view, by the way, from Adam. I'm not sure where he's located at this point, but again, he is down in the Terry County area watching that storm system as it moves through the region.
Yeah, and Adam's actually in northwestern Dawson County now, so he is looking into the storm. He's heading south right now to get ahead of it, so we're not going to be able to look at the current moment. We will shortly be able to talk with him and to look back, but he's headed down southward. And John, want to give you a quick update on the radar and the reason why the National Weather Service in Midland, issued this tornado warning. It is ramped up quite rapidly here over the last few frames here. So I want to step back. What we're looking at here is the Doppler part of Doppler radar. So this is the wind, and we can actually see the green and the red here. This was at 540. We're starting to come together, starting to tighten up just a little bit, but the latest frame that we've seen go to the current perspective shows much stronger rotation indicated here. This is on top of Welch. So if you're in Welch right now, get to your place of safety. Lowest level of your home. We'll have those over if you want to take Max 2 to look at the tornado safety tips. But if you're in Welch or northwestern parts of Dawson County, need to be in your tornado safe place right now. Get into the middle of the home. You want to put as many walls as you can between you and the outside. So in Welch or northwestern Dawson County, these are the tips you need right now. And also a good idea if you have blankets, things like that, a mattress if you could bring it in to cover up with, because this is a destructive storm. Even if it doesn't produce a tornado, and we'll have a live look at it here shortly, we're concerned with it producing 3-inch diameter hail and up to 80-mile-per-hour wind. So that's the concern, John, and the reason why the National Weather Service went ahead and issued this tornado warning. And I'll let you know exactly what it says here with the potential for 2-inch hail as well. The National Weather Service in Midland has issued a tornado warning for northeastern Gaines and northwestern Dawson County until 6:30. Severe storm capable of producing a tornado was over Welch right now. That's 17 miles south of Brownfield. It's moving southeast at 30 miles per hour. 2-inch hail and potential for a tornado. And the weather spotters did report a funnel cloud just a few minutes ago. John.
All right, thanks, Matt. Appreciate that update there and for operating that Doppler radar, checking on that data. And again, you can see that warning extends all the way from the Ashmore area. Obviously, we've emphasized Welch, and Matt was talking about that. But for those of you further south, you need to be taking action now. At least get ready to go to your shelter if that storm continues on a southeast track. That includes Mungerville, and even folks in Lamesa, you need to be alert in general for this storm. It has already produced, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, hail up to 3 inches in diameter in and around the Brownfield area, with some damage to at least vehicles there. We've seen some photos and updates on that, but right now, for the folks around Welch, remember those safety tips. You need to be seeking shelter immediately. You can take your phone with you. Make sure you've got a backup charger there. Just get yourself into a closet, a bathroom. Obviously, you have a basement, you have a cellar. Those are great locations to get into, and you'll notice that the hail is still well north of Welch, but the rotation was right in that area around Welch, and you can see some hail making its way towards Newmore, by the way. And for those of you in Newmore, you might just remain alert, but the storm is generally tracking southeast, and you can see the hail located here northwest of Newmore and also northwest of Welch. So they had some larger sizes earlier coming out of Terry County, but we'll see when we get more additional reports. We did get that one from the National Weather Service in Midland that Matt had mentioned a few minutes ago, but again, you can see the rotation. So for those of you, let's give you a point here along Highway 83 between Ashmore. You need to be in a safe area. Welch as well, County Road 3, Farm to Market Road 1066. You can see the rotation easily on the radar there, and that's one of the reasons the Weather Service issued that warning, plus the reports of funnel clouds from the chasers in that area. There was Highway 137 and also down towards Mungerville. Make sure Farm to Market Road 829 that you're getting in a safe place. Look at all the heavy rainfall pockets here. Large hail north and northeast of 137. So this is an intense, very large storm system as it tracks out of Terry County and the western areas of Lynn County. For those of you in the Newmore area, not so much threat with a tornado, at least at this point it appears, but potential for some very large hail. The track of this will continue to take it south, and the speed varying right on an average of 25 miles an hour, probably closer to 30 from the Weather Service. But Welch, obviously in the path of it immediately. Arvada, you're in the path of this storm. Lamesa, you will also be in a path of this storm, and possibly the community of Key. It just depends on how the storm handles and how it continues to track through that area. So speeds are averaging around 20 miles or so. And again, it does 20 miles per hour, pardon me. And that gives you a little bit of a breakdown. It's a little hard to track. We are zoomed in a little bit there. Yeah, Matt's going to make that modify a little bit. That's a thing that happens with this particular radar and when you're zoomed in on it. But the basic idea is just stay in the shelter if you're in the Welch area. If you're northwest of Lamesa, this will give you a better breakdown based on the current speed of that storm system. You can see from Welch, Lamesa, all the way to Ackerley, Sparringburg, if you take it all the way down past Dawson County, and even in the southwest corner of Borden County. This is a large storm. Notice there's still some rain associated with that up around the New Home area and west of Tahoka and Old Donald on Highway 87, and also down south along the county line. So small area as far as the warning for the tornado, but that's because that's where the intense rotation was indicated. There is a thunderstorm warning that's a broader area going all the way down towards Lamesa and south of that. And the warning continues in effect at this point, along with that tornado warning as well. Matt?
Yeah, and the reason we have the track on it like you're seeing right here, John, is because we want to give you a heads up of this thunderstorm that, if nothing else, is going to produce some large hail and some damaging wind. So that gives you the heads up. Give a first alert to Lamesa at 6:31, and you want to give a few minutes either direction, you know, just to play it safe here. But within the next half hour, the storm itself would at least bring that hail and wind threat into Lamesa. The Weather Service in Midland put exactly where the smallest area, or the most focused area, for where that tornadic threat is. So that's the hail threat, all the times that you see right here, including Lamesa, but really that tornadic threat, and we'll be checking in with Adam, who's on that storm, momentarily here. We're still seeing this hook echo indicated on radar. So if it is producing a tornado, it's right over Welch right now, and it's moving to the southeast at about 30 miles per hour. So if you're in Welch, we told you a few minutes ago to be in your place of safety. You still need to stay there in Welch and Mungerville and northwestern parts of Dawson County. Pretty much as you go from the county line along 137 all the way down about to Lamesa, you need to be in a place of safety right now with this thunderstorm moving southeast at about 30 miles per hour. Latest update on what the velocity returns are showing us. We're still seeing some bright reds and the bright greens. Maybe not as tight as what it was just a few minutes ago, but we're still noting quite a bit of rotation. I'm going to change the perspective just one real quick second, and we're scanning right now from Lubbock, so I'll go down to the Midland radar site, and that's a different story. Scanning a little bit closer to the ground, we are seeing significant rotation here. This is the latest scan, going to back up a few minutes. So within just the last few minutes, rotation has really increased. So it looks like it also may be increasing speed just a bit. Lamesa, you're not in the warning yet. I want you to get to a place of safety, or prepare to get to a place of safety here, because this storm is moving your direction. If nothing else, it's going to have damaging wind. It's going to have hail. But when I see a velocity couplet like this just northwest of town, we hope it's going to weaken over the next few minutes. We can tell you now, Lamesa, you need to be prepared for this storm as well. So that's concerning, John, that we've seen the rotation tighten up quite a bit.
Yes, definitely so. That's a great idea to go to the National Weather Service in Midland with a closer location there. And again, this is a very big storm system, still reaching up into Lynn County and reaching up into the Terry County area as well. It's already produced the large hail. We've talked about that several times. The concern is for you to get in a safe area if you're not there now. Anywhere between Welch and Mungerville and along Highway 137. That's the general track of the storm, and it looks like it continues to track in a southeastward direction. It may vary a little bit to the east-southeast. You can see some of the rain edging over this way, but really it's the circulation in general where the tornado, if there is one, will be indicated that we're watching so closely. So that is right in the Welch area, maybe just a little bit east of Ashmore. See the green and the red indicating the rotation, quite intense. And then so for folks in Mungerville, keep in mind, you want to find if you have a basement, that is great. If you have a shelter, that's great. You need to be getting in there now. In addition to that, you can just go to a closet or a bathroom, a hallway, stay away from the windows, stay away from the open areas of the house. And if you have a cellar that you have to get to, you want to make sure you go ahead and go now. Don't wait until the storm is right up on you. You want to get in there ahead of time. Take your phone with you, a charger for the phone. If you're going into the cellar, you better take a flashlight as well. Just items you might need immediately. Think of that should that storm be still producing or even produce a tornado in that area, and that gives you the rotation. Matt added that on the radar. And again, Farmer Market Road 1066 and 137 and the Welch community, but all the way down along Farmer Market Road 829 and Mungerville as well, and then along 137. And you can see the intensity of the storm reaching all the way to the east.
Yeah, and let's go now to meteorologist Adam Young. He's just a few miles northwest of Lamesa. He can only stay here for a few minutes because he'll have to move. What are you seeing, Adam? And I also didn't give the heads up we were about to go to him, so I know it takes a moment to configure his audio, but if we'll get to him in just a moment because he is just a few miles northwest of Lamesa in northwestern Dawson County. So, Adam, what do you have?
Yeah. Hey, Matt. Sorry, I've got to move here before all the chasers come, but what you see is what you get right now on my feed. It is dirty, it is dusty, and that just complicates things with seeing the storm if it's heading towards you. We checked radar a minute, and that circulation was almost directly on top of us, and you cannot tell right now with all the dust that's being kicked up. We got to remember, a lot of people are planting and plowing right now, so this this dirt's very easily moved, and that's kind of what we're experiencing ahead of the storm right now. But the inflow on this storm's been intense. The outflow in certain spots has been a happy storm, very, very energetic storm that's constantly cycling. And that's really what we've been able to see on the ground. But right now, it's kicking up a lot of dust while it's doing it.
Okay, thanks, Adam. He's repositioning. He's going to continue moving southeasterly toward Lamesa. And Lamesa is under a severe thunderstorm warning, but obviously number one rule when we're tracking these storms is staying safe, staying out ahead of them. And we realized it's a good idea, John, here at the top of the hour. It's now 6:05, but to recap, because we know everyone tunes in right at 6 o'clock for News Channel 11 at 6. And if you're here in Lubbock wondering, okay, it's dark outside, no severe weather here. We're under a severe watch, but everything is down to the south. So just want to give you the heads up. If you're in Lubbock or to the north, no severe weather threat here. The reason we're on right now is this storm that Adam just showed you. If it's producing a tornado with all that dust, it's going to be really difficult to actually spot it. That's why the tornado warning is in place and additional severe storms back to the west. But John just wanted to let folks know where there is not the threat and where there is. And that, unfortunately, is still a pretty serious storm in northwestern Dawson County. John?
That is so true there, Matt. As a matter of fact, that's a very large storm. You and I have tracked that thing from Hockley County all the way down into Terry County. Still some hail indicated. The Newmore area north of Welch. The key right here, though, with this polygon is the tornado warning from the Welch area along 137. Make sure you're getting in your shelter if you're not already. If you live anywhere in this general area, right up to the western areas, western part of the county of Dawson County, you want to make sure you're getting in a shelter at this point. Still showing the rotation with the green and the red and overall intensity of that storm. It is moving southeast. Last report was about 20, maybe 30 miles an hour. I'm looking here on chat. I don't see anything new on that, and we can check that in a few minutes, but you can see again the heavy rainfall to the east. So along the areas here, Woody Road, that's far to the east, but Farmer Market Road 1066. But keep in mind, it may not track exactly along 137. It may slide a little bit east of that or even a little bit further south or southwest. So if you're anywhere in this general area, don't let the polygon fool you. If you're over here in this eastern area, just east of 137, just be prepared to seek shelter because it's so difficult to spot this. I know there's people chasing down there. We have our meteorologist Adam Young down there, and he told you how difficult it is. Low visibility, a lot of dust, a lot of dirt, a rotation with this storm. It's very intense, and you have the water added to that. So visibility is going to be very low. Looks like a pocket of large hail there. Likely this storm has produced some 2 to 3 inch size hail moving through Terry County and through the city of Brownfield, where it caused some damage to at least some automobiles and maybe roofs there. Mungerville, you need to be getting in your shelter now if you're not already there. If you live between Welch and particularly 1066 along that area or 829 down to Mungerville, you need to be getting in the shelter, and that's going to be a low-lying area, basement, cellar if you can, if not closets, bathrooms, hallways. The time is to take action now, depending on the track of the storm, the difficulty tracking this particular storm, by the way. So you want to be safe. Make sure you can turn up the volume on your television set, but you want to have your phone with you. Then you want to have a flashlight with you in case you do lose power there, if that storm knocks the lines down and stuff. Thinking ahead for the next few hours, and just make sure you've got a way to charge your phone if you should need it. But the main thing is, don't forget, helmets are great to have. You also want to make sure that you have blankets, anything to cover you that you can grab easy. If you need to get into a closet, you need to be making plans to do that now and take that action. As far as Urbana and Lamesa, y'all need to just remain alert. Same thing with the community of Sand, because the polygon tries to take that a little bit southeast all the way down, eventually along 180 if it continues on this track, and unfortunately maybe into Lamesa. So again, we're watching it very closely. You just need to be seeking shelter at this particular time. Back to the north, I know there's some very intense rainfall. Terry County, southwestern Lynn County, and there's an update. Look at the large hail that is still associated with the storm. Come back west, these are all scattered showers. There is a warning, thunderstorm warning, for the Denver City area, maybe some hail associated with this storm. You see it working its way into that region. Also could be some wind speeds up to 60 miles an hour with this storm as it makes its way towards Denver City, the southern areas of Yoakum County, and the northeastern corner of Gaines County. So we also have thunderstorm warnings here. Still have a warning for the Brownfield area, but the core of the storm that is now tornadic has moved away from Brownfield. It's moving away from Tahoka. It is still generally west of O'Donnell. For those of you in O'Donnell, just remain alert, but it looks like the brunt of this storm, the dangerous part, is still right here where they've got that polygon or the cone of where the rotation has been. And you can see the large hail with that, basically from Welch all the way down to Mungerville. That's the area where there could be a potential tornado continuing to rotate with this intense storm down to 137. And we'll be repeating this a lot, but we want to make sure you know where the storm is. We have the latest information. I'm out here to show you on a bigger view, and Matt's over there closer to the latest data and operating Doppler radar. So we're trying to cover it at both ends. Anything new over there, Matt?
Yeah, the main thing we've noticed here is it's, I mean, you can really see how on the southeastern edge of the hook right here has really intensified. So we can take a look at meteorologist Adam Young's perspective. He's going farther south. He's going toward Lamesa, but that live perspective really shows how dusty it has been. And when we talked to Adam just a few minutes ago, he said, you know, it's got a real healthy inflow. A thunderstorm is like an engine. If you have a healthy inflow to it, that can help its severity, keep the strength of the storm going. You cut off the inflow, it's like cutting off the inflow to an engine. It's not going to operate or it may just fall apart. So one thing that Adams mentioned is just how strong the wind is feeding into the storm. Now he's looking, because he's headed southbound, he's looking away from the storm. He's about to get into Lamesa, so he's just a few miles northwest of Lamesa right now. In fact, about to get into town. So he's going to reposition eventually once he gets there to a safer perspective to turn back around and watch the storm. You can see we've had numerous vehicles off to the side. That was a Doppler radar on wheels, that big round ball you saw off to the side there. Some research crews that are out studying the severe weather here across our area. They've traveled from around much of the region. But the reason we're repeating here is because when we see a dangerous storm like this, we want to give everyone in northwestern Dawson County the heads up. You can see he's getting right there. He's coming in on a 137 driving into Lamesa right now. He's right at the edge of town. He's going to give you a perspective back now, turning around to the northwest. This is the storm moving into Lamesa right now. And note how those clouds, how quickly it looks like they're going from the right to the left of your screen. That's the inflow. That's all the humid, warm air streaming into the thunderstorm. All those flashing lights you see, those are severe storm researchers that are coming down 137, like Adam, staying out ahead of the storm. But when I see these clouds that low to the ground and really just streaming in there, it shows that this is an intense thunderstorm. Something else, here in Lubbock, it is cool outside. In Lamesa, it's 84 degrees right now. It's warm, it's humid. The air ahead of this thunderstorm is primed for it to maintain its strength and unfortunately be a threat to northwestern Dawson County. And we're giving you the heads up, Lamesa, even if this storm does not produce a tornado by the time it gets to Lamesa here at about 6:30 or so, it is going to bring, based on its current track, a pretty significant hail threat. And our friends at the Weather Service now mentioning within the next half hour, likely destructive wind of at least 80 miles per hour and 3-inch hail. Very large hail moving into Lamesa here over the next 30 minutes. So we have the concern northwest of Lamesa right now of the tornado that's between Welch and just north of Mungerville. The tornado concern is along 137 where you've seen the hook come around. We'll go back to the velocity to show where the rotation is, where we're seeing that real bright orange, kind of the yellow right there. That's some of the stronger rotation indicated. But even if it does not, and that's the chief concern right now, is the tornado threat pretty much coming down 137. Even if it does not produce a tornado, when you're talking about 80-mile-per-hour wind and 3-inch hail, that can do a lot of damage as well. That can be on par with what an EF0, EF1 tornado may look like. So, John, that's the latest update that we have here, is just how destructive the wind will be in addition to that tornado threat. And based on what we're seeing on radar, it is still showing significant rotation, John.
All right, thanks, Matt. Appreciate that update. And again, we'll continue to repeat a lot of information here so that you'll stay in your safe shelter. Lamesa, you need to be getting prepared for that. The winds, the information they just let out of the National Weather Service down in the Midland area about those winds, possibly 80 miles an hour, and they may even be stronger than that. And that's not with the tornado. That's likely preceding, or maybe some of the outflow winds with that as that storm moves in. The tornado is the #1 concern, but the strong winds and still some very large hail associated with this storm system extending back up into the northern areas of Dawson County. And you can tell on our velocity indications here, Mungerville back along 137 and Urbana, just a large rotation with this. Obviously, that's why the Weather Service in Midland and Lubbock continue to watch this storm very closely. It's the National Weather Service in Midland that really takes care of these particular counties, Gaines County, Dawson County, back over to Borden County and Scurry County, and Lubbock has all the counties to the north, but obviously they work together. Storm may have some large hail. It's already produced it earlier, up to 3 inches or larger up in the areas of Terry County around Brownfield, and I mentioned some damage occurred there. They're modifying, it looks like, the size of the tornado track here, the polygon, so it still keeps Mungerville in it, but it also continues to keep Lamesa in that. So it is tracking still generally southeast. So folks in and around Lamesa, particularly in Lamesa, but obviously there's folks that live on the outskirts of Lamesa. If you're on the northwest side, you really need to be getting prepared and just get in the shelter there and ride the storm out to see what happens. A warning technically in effect to 6:30. It may be extended. It just depends on how the storm tracks. And then Urbana, you're still close enough. You likely should be prepared to get in a shelter if necessary. And folks that live along Highway 87 north and maybe northeast of Lamesa at this point, and you can see down south the storm system moving on.
Yeah, and focusing on the wind threat right here, John, I'm just clicking on a few of the pixels here, and this is a little bit off the ground, so it's not scanning all the way down to the ground, but it's showing upwards of 80 to 100 mile per hour wind. So even if you're not talking about the tornado threat, which is right here just northeast of Mungerville, northwest of Lamesa, removing from that, the very strong wind that's wrapping around here, some of these brighter pixels are indicating 80 to 100 mile per hour wind. So this is a destructive wind storm, even if you're not talking about the tornado threat that is still present. The very strong wind associated with this, if this were just straight line wind, that's a concern, John, when we're starting to see velocity returns like that. So that's why this is still a monster of a storm, John.
Definitely so, very intense, and again, making its way southeast towards the Lamesa area, back up to the north with the large hail indicated just south now of Welch, along, looks like the Highway 137 all the way over to north of Urbana. The storm itself extending further north. There looks like there's some shower and rain activity around O'Donnell, back into the southeastern corner of Terry County as well. with this storm system tracking generally south to southeast. Keep in mind, there's still a thunderstorm warning in addition to the tornado warning. The thunderstorm warning extends all the way to the Sand community. As far as Seminole, a quick broader look, we still have a thunderstorm warning in effect in the area. Small portion looks like Yoakum County may have a severe storm approaching the Seagraves area. You can see that storm system located here. It doesn't appear to be bringing anything significant to the Plains community, but possibly some small hail, maybe 1 inch in diameter or so down in this area between Lovington, southwest of Plains, then in the Hobbs area down to Eunice. You can see some heavy rainfall there. So have widely scattered shower storms intermixed with these other showers and thunderstorms. Back in the Brownfield area, you guys are clear of this particular storm. There's a moderate storm there. There is one west of town. We have some showers coming into Lubbock. We may have some rain coming into Lubbock. Skies may get dark. We're not associated with this storm system. The tornadic storm is well to our south. Here in Lubbock, just some showers beginning to develop around the Ropesville area up towards Wolford, so we may get some shower activity here, maybe even a thunderstorm. Keep in mind, we are looking west here, by the way, on First Bank and Trust camera, but we're still under a thunderstorm watch in Lubbock, and most of the southern South Plains and southwestern part of South Plains is under that. And again, here's another view from 56th and Avenue A, and again, low clouds over us, much cooler temperatures. We've fallen into the 70s. Areas ahead of the frontal boundary, particularly ahead of this storm system, they're still in the 80s there, so that's enhancing that severe thunderstorm to the south. We see this activity building up, so if you see it building up, we'll let you know if there's any warnings, but really the biggest threat is further south, not so much around Lubbock or Levelland or even back around Morton. It's all in this general area here, and this activity back west from the Morton area down to Seminole hasn't been that intense. Maybe some 1 inch size hail, maybe some winds of 60 miles an hour. Further south, obviously the tornado warning down in the Dawson County area in Lamesa, nothing around Snyder, Jayton, back to Post at this point. Still indicating some very large hail associated with this storm system, particularly near Mungerville. We hope folks in Mungerville and that general area, you're in a shelter. Looks like the hail size has ramped up once again with the storm, meaning most likely the storm intensity may be increasing in that region, possibly back up. And this storm has produced some 3 inch size hail or larger earlier in the day, and that storm is bearing down on Lamesa. Expected to be in there maybe around 6:30 or so. That's within the next 10 minutes. So you need to be prepared to seek shelter if necessary. Right now the warning comes down. It doesn't technically include Lamesa, but that storm continues to edge towards Lamesa with the heavy hail associated with it around Mungerville, particularly along 137. And then it looks like some moderate showers and some hail headed for the Arvana area. You can see the hail back there. Keep in mind, this entire storm is going generally east and southeast. You have the rotation of the storm here. This is the core where the tornado has been indicated on radar and funnel clouds reported earlier. And again, we continue to watch to see if we get an update from Adam Young. We know the dust is blowing. Visibility quite low there, especially as you get closer to that storm. So it makes it a little difficult for any chasers down that area to pinpoint anything in specific, but that is a dangerous thunderstorm. You need to be in shelter at Mungerville. You need to be prepared possibly to seek shelter in Arvana. You probably should be preparing on a little bit of a faster scale if you're in Lamesa. Go ahead and get your phones, flashlight, anything you might want to cover yourself with, and just be prepared to seek shelter if the Weather Service in Midland extends that tornado warning to Lamesa. They have not done that yet. It's still in effect till 6:30, so we'll wait and see what the folks in Midland decide to do that, and I'm sure they'll be getting a lot of information from law enforcement as well as the storm chasers down in that area. And the warning on this, by the way, thunderstorm warning extends all the way down into southern areas of Dawson County. So it's a very large, very intense storm tracking east. Some of that heavy rainfall will go into O'Donnell along Highway 87. And folks in Key, further south down into the southeastern areas, well, we've got a brand new tornado warning coming out right now. Spotters are reporting a tornado northwest of town. So that's why probably right in this area here. And I'm sure if you got it on velocity there, Matt, we can go to that and you can pinpoint that.
Yeah, so it's moving into Lamesa now. So this is urgent Everyone in Lamesa needs to be in a place of safety. We told you this. That was about 20-some minutes ago. We said that we want you to be in a place of safety in Lamesa. We'll look at the velocity presentation. But again, we now have ground truth confirmation of a tornado just northwest of Lamesa, and it's moving into town right now. Unfortunately, the radar is showing strong rotation, very strong wind inbound. That's the bright greens you see, but the green and the red, that's just northwest of Lamesa. Let's come here to the camera to show you that it was just northwest of town, just a few miles northwest. Looking about 3 or 4 miles northwest of Lamesa is where the, pretty much right along 137, is where the tornado was reported. So this is moving at 30 miles per hour. You have just a few minutes until the tornado will be in Lamesa. So everyone in Lamesa needs to be in a place of safety right now. Let's see if we can take meteorologist Adam Young's perspective. He's trying to reposition because he's staying ahead of the storm. Adam, you're right there in Lamesa. What are you seeing right now?
Hey, you know, it's now gotten very dark here in the last minute or two. Where I was at was with the way that this is starting to kind of wrap around, we were finally clear of the dust, but now probably whatever's there is getting ready to become rain wrapped here. Look at the last couple of scans of radar. So we're going to see if we can reposition and be able to see something. But right now, judging by where I was able to briefly see a circulation a few minutes ago, I would definitely have, if you're in the northwest corner of Lamesa, I would be in your safe space. You know, take all your precautions because right now this is right on the edge of town and it's spinning.
Okay, thanks, Adam. And yeah, John, that is, as he's right there in town, what he mentioned, sometimes you're going to see from miles away and you can see a tornado. What Adam has told us is there's all kinds of dust associated with this storm, so the visibility is really difficult. We do know that the spotters were able to confirm a tornado just northwest of town right here. So that's moving into Lamesa. Adam's there right now, and he's telling you you cannot see far. Sometimes you can see for miles and miles to see a tornado. That is not the case here, and there's so much rainfall with it that, John, this is not something that you'd be able to just like look out the back door and say, here it comes. It may be there before you can really actually see anything, John.
Tell you what, it is a very dangerous situation there, Matt. And obviously, we want folks, we're repeating a lot of information, but if you haven't sought shelter yet, if you're getting into shelter now, just keep points, try to find, if you have a basement, that's great. If you have a cellar, go now. Don't wait any longer. You need to go immediately, and that doesn't just include Lamesa. That means folks down along 180 south of Lamesa, also along 349, and anywhere in that area. And even for Urbana, you need to just be alert, stay near your shelter now that you're under that tornado warning. Keep in mind, clothes, any kind of heavy clothing, blankets, towels, helmets are great. Take a flashlight with you because it's going to get very dark. You're probably going to lose some electricity. Take your phone with you, grab a charger, a portable charger, so you'll have some communication potential there. So this is just to get you ready for that as that storm rolls through. Whether you're in Lamesa or back to the west near Mungerville, there may be power outages because of the intensity of the storm, with the general winds themselves indicated on velocity and the Doppler radar of 80 to over 100 miles an hour. That in itself can take the power poles down and cause an issue there. So you need to have some source, a flashlight for lights, and also some way to keep your phone charged in case anything does happen significantly where you are. So make sure you do that. And for all the areas east, just be sure you're prepared. In fact, the way they extended that warning, it's even a good idea for those of you in Key to go ahead and get prepared for this storm system. I know it still looks like it's a long way off, but since you can't see it at this point, even the spotters are having difficulty. If I were you, at least make your way, know where you're going to go immediately. Don't wait for the next few minutes. Just go ahead and make that decision and go there. Turn up the volume on your television set. I've said that a long time over the years, and you can do that, and you can be able to hear us talking about it. And if you have a NOAA weather radio that picks up the signal, take that, but your phone will be a great aspect on that with our First Alert weather app. But just indications that extends all the way over to Borden County. It does not include Borden County at this point, and it even extends further south. I know we have folks down in Patricia and Ackerley. this point, you look safe as far as this storm system. Maybe you under a severe thunderstorm warning coming up for some large hail or heavy rain. But the way the storm now has shifted a little bit more to a southeast track, it's tracking down towards Sparrenburg, once again on 137. That's really been the track of this storm, Matt.
Yeah, and let's go back to meteorologist Adam Young's perspective just to show you that as this storm is moving into town, how low the visibility is. It's dark as night. You can see the water tower right there in Lamesa. He noted just how much dust has been flying around and how much rain is associated with this tornado. It's very likely that this is a rain-wrapped tornado moving into town, so you're not going to be able to see it as it moves in. He's moving away from the storm. Just wanted to show the heavy rain that's already falling in Lamesa at the present time. Yeah, we're repeating a lot, but that's because this storm has not let up from what it has been doing for the past several minutes. So he's going through town, heading a little bit farther on down to the south, staying ahead of this storm. But unfortunately, the destructive part of it, and also it's important to note that tornadoes, relatively speaking, on the scale of weather, are small. Even the large tornadoes, they're like a mile across, and that's humongous, yeah. Lamesa is larger than that, so it's not going to be all of, if the tornado maintains its structure and moves into town, even away from the tornado, you're talking about at least 80 to potentially 90-mile-per-hour wind. Adam, what are you seeing right now at 628 in Lamesa?
Hey, we're on 87. We're trying to get out of Lamesa right now. This is we encountered at least golf ball size hail, and we weren't even in the core of the storm yet. So we also got to mention the hail threat, that this is going to be dropping some very large hail possibly as well here right now, moving directly through Lamesa.
Okay. Well, thanks for the update, Adam. Stay safe as you're heading down to the south and east. Coming back to radar to give you a perspective on what he's saying right there. They're in Lamesa. They're going down 87, getting out of town. Keep in mind, radar is always going to be, you're scanning it here. We're getting updates frequently here, but the storm is still moving. So this core that is just northwest of Lamesa, that's what Adam just experienced in town. That's not the most intense part, and he just said they had golf ball size hail in Lamesa. So if this core that's wrapping around in the Hook Echo is supporting golf ball size hail, that's why there's the potential for maybe at least baseball size hail with the core that's moving on down. I know we're saying there are a lot of different weather phenomena that are happening here. The tornado that's moving into town, and latest indication, it was a few minutes ago since that report, but everything we're seeing here, I have no reason to believe that it has lifted. We hope it has. But you have the tornado threat, potential for, even away from the center of the rotation, at least 80-mile-per-hour wind, and the potential for baseball-sized hail. So this is going to be a destructive storm moving through Lamesa. If you're watching us, and like John said, turn the volume up, be in your safe place. We're just telling you here, it's still going to be several more minutes. It's going to get loud because of all the hail that is going to be moving through over the next few minutes as this storm has picked up speed. Adam mentioned that as well. It's now moving about 30 miles per hour down to the southeast, and just want to relay what the National Weather Service in Midland has shown, and also the Weather Service has gone ahead and issued a flash flood warning because of how heavy the rainfall is. Again, this was just a few minutes ago. Recapping, if you're just tuning in here, the National Weather Service in Midland has issued a tornado warning for central Dawson County, which includes Lamesa. At 6:21, a confirmed tornado was pretty much moving into Lamesa. It was just northwest of town. It was moving southeast at 30 miles per hour. So the risks here and what this storm is doing right now, a damaging tornado and baseball-sized hail. Remember, flying debris can be dangerous. Don't try to go outside and see this thing. We've been showing you the perspective of this storm with the dust and the rain all flying around. You're not going to be able to see it. So the storm is right now moving through Lamesa, moving down to the southeast. This tornado warning goes until 6:45, but we're still seeing that presentation of the significant Hook Echo as it's moving to the southeast, and looking at what the velocity returns are showing us. Unfortunately, it has still maintained that very tight velocity couplet. We'll go in a little bit closer here. We're still seeing very strong rotation on top of Lamesa right now. So also flooding rains with this storm. But John, unfortunately, this storm is maintaining its strength as it's rolling through Lamesa right now. And also want to give a heads up, we always look upstream what is happening with this storm as it moves farther off to the south and east. Again, it's moving at about 30 miles per hour. Early heads up to Ackerley, you are not in the tornado warning, but if you're along 87 south of town, the storm is moving toward you, so you need to be in a place of safety if you live south or southeast of Lamesa. Again, it's moving southeast at about 30 miles per hour. Maybe the hook is not quite as pronounced on the last couple of scans right there, John, but this is still, unfortunately, a destructive storm right over Lamesa right now, John.
That is so true. And again, folks could tell from Adam's video there, live video, how dark it's gotten. That's why we've talked about the fact you need your flashlight. You need something to give you a little light there, especially with power outages that may occur at least over the next few minutes, and then with night coming after that. But the main thing is to be in your shelter. Make sure you've got a helmet. If you're headed to the shelter now, and hopefully you are, especially down in Ackerley and Sparrenburg, you need to be headed there now. You can always just stay there and let the storm pass over, and hopefully it'll be weaker by then. But just in case, go ahead and prepare as it comes your way. Helmets, anything you can put around you, anything to protect you from the debris. That's the most dangerous part of the storm, blowing into homes or businesses like that. So that's why you want to cover up. You want to make sure you get inside your house, as anywhere close, closet, bathroom, interior portions of your house there. Obviously, if you have a cellar, I've said it several times there, and even Matt, you need to go ahead and take action now for that. You don't want to wait until the wind is blowing and it's already sending debris and then try to get to the cellar. A lot of folks have made that mistake. You want to get in the cellar ahead of time and then be prepared for the storm to come over you. So the action you need to take is now, if you have an area, especially in the southeastern area where you live of Dawson County, Ackerley, Sparrenburg, and even if you're in that situation south of Lamesa, you need to be seeking shelter. Maybe you're waiting to see what happened. Well, you know what's happening now, so you need to go ahead and be seeking shelter along 137 all the way to the west and southwest of Lamesa, all the way back to the east, right up to the Borden County line. Notice again, rotation indicated here. There's a little less red indicated there, but it's plenty of the light blue and the light green, so you still have the rotation. Here's some key points of the city: 180 here, 137, the county road there, County Road 21. Hopefully you're in your shelter, and if you're listening to us, at least we're giving you an idea of where that storm's located. Hopefully you have your First Alert weather app as well. Back along County Road 19, you need to be seeking shelter. Arvana, looks like the core of the storm should be south of you, but you still could experience very strong winds and very heavy rainfall. Looks like the hail threat is really east of Mungerville now, so it looks like the core hopefully is beginning to move away from Mungerville and move out of the northwestern areas of Dawson County. We have some rain in Lubbock, nothing dangerous here. Some heavy thunderstorms in Hobbs and Seminole. You guys are close, but there's nothing there. There is a warning kind of squeezed in there. You can see that still in the southwestern areas around Denver City. You guys may get some heavy rainfall, maybe some 1-inch size hail, and some intense winds of 60 miles an hour. But the core, and we continue to repeat again, is down in Dawson County for Ackerley. And I'm going to mention possibly southwestern Borden County. If you live there, you need to be continuing to watch us, and you need to be preparing just in case this storm should swing your way. There's no guarantees it's going to continue more south or southeast. It may veer a little more east-southeast with this storm, kind of following somewhat the boundary of a frontal boundary that moved through. And you know it's very warm ahead of this system. Obviously in Lubbock, we're on the backside of the system. That's why we haven't seen much activity at all. Cloud cover and cool temperatures. Matt?
Yeah, the latest indications here on radar, and also what we're still seeing from the ground truth reports, is the storm is maintaining its structure, and we knew going into today that it would be south of the front. Wherever that front pushed on through, that's where there'd be the greatest spin in the atmosphere to rotate at least one storm. And so we didn't know as of this morning exactly where the front would be during peak heating. Could have been as far north as Plainview. It wound up just south of Lubbock, and then when it pushed from Tahoka a little bit farther south, this is the prime environment. We always look at what is the storm doing now, what could it do as it continues moving southeast, and unfortunately we still see an environment out ahead of it that will support this storm maintaining its current current structure. Unfortunately, we're still seeing that strong velocity couplet right on top of Lamesa. Temperature has cooled off in Lamesa itself, obviously with the rain. It went from 84 to it's now dropped off to 66. A little bit farther south of there, it's down by Tarzan, it's 89, and the dew point is holding in the 60s. So the air mass ahead of this storm is still really warm, still a lot of instability, a lot of energy for this storm to maintain its strength. So that's why, with it moving southeast at 30 miles per hour, I want to give you, and there's the new update that just came in on this tornado warning. We'll track from the velocity, from the strong rotation right there going southeast at about 30. This would put it in Ackerley here. Let me actually, I want to give you a little bit better heads up time than that. I want to go a little bit faster than 30 just to let you know what is moving in. But if it does continue down toward, we hear from folks in Ackerley and asking about heads up down there. This would put it near the top of the hour, just after about 7 o'clock or so, near Ackerley, and then we continue southeast from there. So I'll let you, I'll zoom back in to show you where exactly the tornado warning is. We always want to give the clear when we can say, hey, you don't need to worry about this storm anymore, or when you are still in the area that needs to be concerned. That tornado warning still includes Lamesa and goes almost down to Ackerley. That goes until 6:45. Checking latest information here from the National Weather Service. They maintain this tornado warning that's in place again until 6:45 at least. But on its current structure, this is a storm that may just keep rocking and rolling. It's going to move out of our television coverage area pretty soon. But I see the environment ahead of it sticking around to still support, being a very strong, prolific hail producer, wind producer, and could still produce the tornado. Flash flood warning is also in place there till 9:30 for central parts and most of Dawson County. I believe we do have a live perspective from Adam Young out ahead of the storm. As he's gotten farther away, it's really an interesting contrast on the conditions that we saw when he was near it. And there was all that dust flying around. There's so much rain flying around from what is likely a rain-wrapped tornado. Well, now a few miles ahead of it, he's mentioned to us how warm and how unstable it is. So he's going to be tracking the storm. He's going to get repositioned here shortly as he's farther out. He's going down 87, getting farther away from Lamesa. Actually, it looks like he just turned off there. That's single lane right there. So he's going to give us a different perspective right here. He was on 87. You can see it wasn't 2 lanes either direction now. So this is now, he's pointed back to the north to show you what's moving out of Lamesa, giving us a live perspective. And let me check his positioning. Latest update here, he is now still a few miles farther south from town and positioned back to the northwest. And this is what's moving through Lamesa right now. Unfortunately, all indications are this is still a destructive storm, and as best as we can tell, is still producing a tornado moving through Lamesa right now. In addition to that, potential for baseball-sized hail, as well as 80, maybe 90-mile-per-hour winds. So this is right on top of Lamesa now, John, and really don't see it weakening, really changing its structure anytime soon. And Adams just got out of the pickup right there, checking on a few things. But so he's actually just west of Ackerley right now. So, John, this is definitely a storm that we can give the heads up to folks down in Ackerley and southeastern parts of Dawson County that you need to be in your place of shelter right now. Everyone in Lamesa should still be sheltering because of the strength of this storm. John? That is so true, and you could tell from Adam when you saw him there briefly how his shirt was blowing even this far away from the storm itself. Winds are very intense with this storm system. That's why they were reporting winds 80, maybe up to 100 miles an hour with it. Keep in mind the areas that are in the core of that, there's also a flash flood warning in effect, so heavy rainfall is occurring. So, folks are trying to get away from there like Adam has done at this point. You're going to have the flooding issue on top of the winds, maybe the power loss as well. So you want to try to be in a shelter before that gets to you. Flashlight, have that with the darkness that comes with this storm. Matt mentioned earlier with tornadoes are going to sound like a train. Many people that have gone through tornadoes indicate it sounds like a freight train coming your way. That's what you're going to hear with all the debris being tossed around, the strong winds as well, and the hail that may be associated with it. And there has been some large hail when this system went through Brownfield and Terry County. We reported 2 to maybe 3 to 3.5 inches of hail,
2 to 3.5 inches size of hail moving through that community and Terry County in general. And you can see a little bit of dust there from the high winds maybe down there. You can see also how with a little bit of rain, the dust that's on his windshield every now and then. But again, tornado warning still in effect for the Lamesa area. For those of you in Spartanburg, stay alert. Ackerley, you need to be seeking, you need to seek a safe place immediately if you haven't already. Also, if you're in southwestern areas of Borden County, I'd suggest that you also just be prepared for seeking a safe place. It's a critical deal to do that. And notice the lights on. That's the darkness with that storm system, and it's very intense. The size is very intense. Look at the wind flow at the distance from there, reducing visibility. As it continues to move through, make sure that you've got your flashlights with you, that you've got a way that you can contact family or friends. You know, if there's a power outage, your cell phone will be good for that. As soon as they get the power back up, main issue is have it with you, have a flashlight. Make sure when you seek shelter, you've got a helmet, you've got some cloth around you, you've got a way to protect you from the flying debris. The debris is one of the critical issues there with winds of 70 to maybe 100 miles an hour in that region with that storm system moving through. As far as we know, there's still a tornado on the ground. I'm looking over here at the chat information. Same thing that Matt is looking at, and don't see indications of anything new that's come in other than that flash flood warning continues for Dawson County because of the intensity of that storm system, Matt.
Yeah, and as far as what we have here, we're scanning the storm every few minutes with updates here, and unfortunately we are still seeing, let me see here.
All right, well, yeah, I'll mention the storm remains intense there. Matt will change out his battery, but again, notice the overall rotation. The storm is still in the Lamesa area, but for those of you in Spartanburg, I've mentioned it already several times, be prepared, seek shelter. Keep in mind, even down in southwest areas around Patricia, there could be some strong winds associated with the storm, even with the tornado up here. For those of you down in Ackerley, you need to be seeking shelter now based on the track of that storm. Holding together, tracking down generally along 137, maybe veering a little bit more to the east as it tracks down towards Ackerley. And I mentioned a few minutes ago, there is a thunderstorm warning in the southwestern corner of Dawson County. Primarily, if you live in this general area, anywhere east and southeast of this storm, you need to watch us. You need to watch very closely on your weather app because that storm is working its way slowly towards you. It hasn't decreased much at all in intensity. You can tell from the brightness of the colors and again the rotation on the velocity indicating the impact of that storm. Matt?
Yeah, so the tornado warning here is about to expire, waiting for update from the Weather Service if they will issue again specifically for the tornado threat. But a new severe thunderstorm warning has been issued that does include Ackerley and goes all the way down outside of our television viewing area down into Martin County. But you can still see, unfortunately, still very strong, very bright green in the reds that we're seeing right here. Still strong velocity couplet moving down 137 down southeast from Lamesa. And give you kind of a couple of bounds of where that is. It's actually pretty much stretching right here from 137 to 87 south of town, moving southeast. So heads up in Ackerley that you need to be in a place of safety with this destructive storm with the potential for baseball-sized hail and 80-mile-per-hour wind gust potential with the storm. So this is what we've been looking at for the last several minutes here with the velocity perspective. I want to go back to what the classic radar return is. It's less intense in Lamesa right now. It's moving southeast. Meteorologist Adam Young has been watching the storm for hours now. Adam, what's the latest there? You're down close to Ackerley.
Yeah, we're heading toward Ackerley right now, and one thing I'm starting to notice here is we kind of had a few cell mergers take place. I mean, this is obviously still a monster of a storm, but I'm now in outflow, and very strong outflow at that. Now, the last time this storm cycled like that, we ended up in very strong outflow like that. It wasn't about 15 or 20 more minutes before it really started wrapping up and intensifying again. Now, the thing is that's going to move out of our viewing area, but I do know there's a few people that watch us online. They're south of Ackerley. You're still going to want to keep an eye on this storm here for a little bit because it's cycling again.
Okay, thanks for that update, Adam. Okay, thanks, Adam, right there. And What he said, and that's why it's so valuable to have Adam on the ground observing the storm, because it matches up with what radar is showing now that we just got a new scan in. This steps it back to 6:30, where I'm seeing reds and greens, that strong rotation right on top of Lamesa. But the latest scan matches what Adam just said when he said he's seeing the outflow. That's all the green you're seeing, not as much red. And the reason is we're scanning from the radar down in Midland. Green means wind that's moving south, inbound to the radar. Red is moving away. So since we're not seeing as much green, that's the storm pushing out all that wind. That's what he's seeing, is as it pushes out that wind, that's what we call an outflow dominant storm. That can be good, but like Adam said, he saw it do that again and then it recycled. But what that often means is that more of that cold air that's being pushed out from the storm, that is what's happening from an outflow dominant storm. And now that limits the tornado threat. Usually it can be a sign of a tornado dissipating, but we still have very destructive wind. It's not like this storm has decreased by any stretch of the imagination. So the brighter blues that we're seeing right here, radar is estimating 80 to possibly, it's scanning a little bit off the ground, 80 to 100 mile per hour wind. But that's the outflow dominant wind that Adam just mentioned down there south of Lamesa. So at this point, John, it does look like the Weather Service has allowed the tornado warning to expire, but we still want to give the heads up that this is still a destructive storm in Ackerley that you need to be taking very carefully. And we also have initial unconfirmed reports of at least some things like power lines down and things like that, according to some of the law enforcement there. But just some back and forth right now going through the chat. Nothing confirmed there, but that's what we would expect, at least some sort of wind damage in Lamesa from a storm like this as it's moving to the southeast. John?
That is true there, and I'm glad you noticed that. I did too, about the fact that there were some reports of power poles down there, maybe a semi turned over. But again, we're now back to a severe thunderstorm, the very intense one, working its way towards Ackerley, moving away from Lamesa. And we might zoom out a little bit there. I've gotten a couple of folks, other chasers, reporting some small storm systems around the central South Plains, nothing severe at this point. But you can see how the showers and storms extend all the way along 180 and back up to the north along 137, back up in the northern areas of Dawson County and a little further to the northeast as well. And this storm system will track down towards Ackerley. Still has the potential, keep in mind, of hail anywhere from 1 inch or larger, possibly 1 to 2 inches in size. As it tracks down into this region, it is heading into the western areas of Borden County. They still have a thunderstorm warning in that particular area. It looks like the storm itself will probably edge over towards Gale, but that portion of the storm is not quite as intense. And then other showers and storms all the way back over to Gaines County, moderate to heavy west of Seminole. Same thing in the Brownfield area, and again, maybe some marble-sized hail occurring with this storm from the reports I've seen there, and that's in the Brownfield area, but that's nothing significant, especially compared to what's going on down in Lamesa and especially southeast of Lamesa. Very intense thunderstorm. At least the tornado warning has been allowed to expire, but there's a severe thunderstorm warning occurring there. We still have a flood warning over Lamesa area, Dawson County in general due to heavy rainfall. Visibility is still low. Then back in northern Lee County, I want to mention we have a flood warning there as well. So all of this area along 180 and 137 coming down and all the way down south of Lamesa. Very intense rainfall has been occurring in that area. Is it going to affect the roadways in general? This storm still has the potential for possibly 60-mile-an-hour wind or stronger. At least some golf ball size hail potentially or larger. So it's working its way towards Borden County. Showers and storms, not much to this activity southwest of Tahoka. Moderate showers in Brownfield. And again, we have some clouds. We have some showers around Lubbock, but nothing significant with that. Overall, this storm system moving east, maybe just a little bit to the southeast, down into the areas around Andrews and a little bit further south towards the Big Spring. So this is a large complex, and a reminder that Lubbock is still under a thunderstorm watch. We don't have anything severe around Lubbock or immediately to our west. All of the strongest storms are obviously down south, and maybe some sprinkles here, some in New Mexico, but things overall there, Matt, are calming down except in Dawson County and the western areas of Borden County.
Yeah, and that is still a storm. Adam is actually now back into the inflow of the storm coming on in. But like he said, you can see, I mean, the wind has been strong. He was with this thunderstorm here half an hour ago, just ahead of it as it was moving through Lamesa. And once the storm gets out, it's still raining. There's still heavy rain in Lamesa. Our news crews will start gathering information on, what this storm did as it moved through the town right there. I guess if there's any good news thus far is that when it moved through, it was rain wrapped and also dust wrapped. There's so much dust going around. We actually couldn't see specifically what the storm was doing and if the tornado was on the ground when it went through Lamesa. We know that the funnel was in contact with the ground. Tornado was in progress just northwest of Lamesa as it moved in. And realize that if you tuned in here at 6:30, you were expecting to watch us here with Wheel of Fortune at 6:30 or our news at 6 o'clock. We'll be getting to your news here in just a few minutes and plan at this point, if the weather cooperates, with Wheel of Fortune coming up at 7:30 here this evening. National Weather Service has issued a new tornado warning for southeastern Dawson County. So coming back to the radar presentation here, Ackerley, you are now in a tornado warning. Lamesa is not. We'll go back to the velocity presentation here. And this lets us see what the wind is doing, the motion of the wind, which tells us where are we seeing the strongest rotation. And that's still indicated at this point just northwest of Ackerley. So Adam is, that perspective we just showed you here, he's down near Ackerley. Once again, we have a tornado warning, and we're once again seeing strong rotation. This is exactly what Adam described just a few minutes ago, is that it became outflow dominant. It kicked out that really strong wind. But then, when he saw it happen the first time, it cycled through. Well, that's happened once again. So right at Sparrenburg, we're seeing strong rotation right here. That's at County Road O and County Road 30. That's close to 87 right there. That's where we're seeing the strong rotation. So that is on the doorstep of Ackerley. Everyone in Ackerley and southeastern Dawson County needs to be in a place of safety. And this does extend outside of our coverage area. That's down in the Midland Odessa television market, but that eventually could get down toward Big Spring and eventually cross down I-20 down that direction. But this is what we're concerned with right now, is once again seeing strong rotation just northwest of Ackerley. And we actually have a perspective we can go back to Adam Young's perspective. He is back in Ackerley. He's been going kind of back and forth here, and that's a live look. So I know that earlier when the storm moved through Lamesa, the tornado sirens had been sounding there earlier. Again, this thunderstorm is moving into Ackerley right now. And Adam is in Ackerley right now. That says Lamesa. It's in Ackerley right now is where Adam is as this thunderstorm is moving in. So we still need everyone in Ackerley and southeastern Dawson County, please. I know we've said it a whole bunch of times, but if maybe you just got home and are just wondering what's that loud storm outside, it's one that means business. We want you to be in a safe place, get to the lowest level of your home, and place as many walls as you can between you and the outside, because this thunderstorm is right on the doorsteps here of Ackerley. And starting to see, as he's looking back into the storm, and Adam mentioned a healthy inflow coming back in. If we have Adam, let me know if he'd like to talk here on the phone shortly. But the structure of the storm it's like what he mentioned he thought it might do, cycle through once again, where it goes from just kicking out that strong wind. It's got a lot of lightning with it as well, but maybe trying to produce a tornado once again. And it's just a few miles outside of Ackerley right now. So Adam is just a few miles ahead of it. We actually appear to have a little bit better vantage point of the base of the thunderstorm than when it moved into Lamesa, when that had all kinds of dust and rain whipping around the storm. But again, this storm is tracking pretty close to US 87. And the National Weather Service maintains a tornado warning for southeastern Dawson County for this thunderstorm near Sparrenburg, moving toward Ackerley right now. And we'll check in with Adam here in just a little bit. He's repositioning once again and watching that thunderstorm. Definitely seeing the low base here and the gusty wind, in addition to the threat of a tornado, brings the potential for baseball-sized hail and at least 80-mile-per-hour wind with this thunderstorm. Again, it's 6:55 here as we're watching this thunderstorm move southeast. But John, this is definitely an intense storm. that this first formed in Hockley County, and Adam's been tracking, he's been out with it, and we've been tracking it here in the forecast center since then, when it was the first cell of the day that went up near Levelland, then tracked to the south, got more intense near Brownfield, and then it was when it moved southeast of Brownfield near Welch. That's when we first had a tornado warning issued, and then had the report of a tornado just northwest of Lamesa. So let's go back to meteorologist Adam Young. And what are you seeing with this storm now there from Ackerley, Adam?
Yeah, you're right. We got a better look into the base, and I can still see some broad rotation even to the naked eye. I'm not going to be staying here for very much longer. Another thing that I've noticed too, Matt, I'll let you explain this. I'm going to start moving now. I'll let you explain this, but one thing we've noticed here in the last 10 minutes or so has been an increase in the cloud-to-ground lightning activity and the general lightning activity. I'll let you explain what that means, but we've seen some incredible lightning strikes out of this thing. But right now, we still got broad rotation. I can't see anything on the ground from my vantage point, but that doesn't mean something isn't there.
Okay. Well, thanks for the update. And Adam's covered games at all the different communities in Dawson County. He didn't make the comment because he doesn't like the folks in Ackerley when he said, I don't want to stay here. It's because he is not in a safe place to stay there. He's going to continue rolling south and east and move on out of the county to stay ahead of it. But we do care about you in Ackerley, and that's why he is there watching this thunderstorm. So southeastern Dawson County, including Ackerley. I want to give a loop here over the past 45 to 60 minutes of this thunderstorm and give you an idea. Adam mentioned he's seen a great increase in the number of lightning strikes. That can often be indicative of a thunderstorm that is increasing its intensity. And the fact that he noticed that just in the last few minutes really shows just how intense this storm is, and that it is a dangerous storm for southeastern Dawson County. So at 6:51, the Weather Service issued this tornado warning for southeastern Dawson County, and then continues farther south and east until 7:15. This storm that could produce a tornado was 8 miles northwest of Ackerley, moving southeast at 35 miles per hour. At least if there is good news here, Adam is on that storm, and based on what he saw, it is he couldn't see a funnel in contact all the way to the ground. Not to say it isn't, but at least it's a different report than before the storm was moving into Lamesa, when it had produced a tornado at that point. I want to give another quick vantage point here, and going to back out here across our region and let you know that the big story of the day, one of the big stories, was the Women's College World Series in Oklahoma City. Tech baseball is supposed to have the first pitch at 6 o'clock. That was pushed back to 7:15. Storms are now moving southeast from the Oklahoma City metro out into green country and eastern parts of Oklahoma. So it looks like they will be able to get things underway in a little bit. We hope to check in with Pete here in just a bit if the weather cooperates with what we're covering back here on the South Plains. But Tech baseball, or Tech softball, should be first pitch at about 7:15. Back to this warning here, that the latest update here on what we're seeing both on radar as well as from what Adam is observing is still significant rotation down for southeastern parts of Dawson County. Now, the storm is about to move out of our area, and we'll hand this coverage over to the folks down in Midland. But still, for a few more minutes, we want to stay with this storm as long as it's producing that strong rotation just northwest of Ackerley, pretty much coming down 87, almost paralleling the highways. It goes down 87 from Lamesa down toward Ackerley. So at least for a few more minutes, we'll watch this storm, John, because it is still showing that rotation. And unfortunately, even if it doesn't produce a tornado, it has produced a tornado earlier. Even if it doesn't, brings that potential for 80-mile-per-hour wind and baseball-sized hail through Ackerley. John?
That's right. And again, very intense thunderstorm there. I do want to mention that I'd gotten a message from one of our viewers down there, Bob, in Lamesa, said the storm at this point looks like it was moving in at the time when he sent that, or shortly after. he was in a position where he showed some video, the trees were moving and stuff. I didn't see any damage around his home, but this was a quick view. I don't know if he sought shelter after that, but did have some communication with one of our viewers, Bob, down in Lamesa, so we certainly appreciate that. And a reminder to you that kcbd.com/firstalert, if you have any videos, information, or pictures, please send those. And the reason I mention that, and I'm not taking away from the seriousness here, Sparringburg and Ackerley, but that would be very useful for us, and so we can show our viewers a little later and also have an update on what that storm may or may not have done in the Lamesa area. Do not do it if you're down in the Sparringburg, Ackerley area or southeastern Dawson County. We want you in a safe place in a shelter along 87 in those two communities. And the same thing, maybe in Vealmore, down in that area, southwestern areas of Borden County. I'm not sure we have viewers there, but just in case, I want to mention that you've got the storm still tracking in your general direction. You have some rain moving towards Gale, but the core of the storm is not a threat to you. Obviously, this is a very large storm as it's moved out of Hockley County, produced the 2 to 3 inch size hail and larger in the Brownfield area, has continued to produce tornado, at least we believe, a couple of times here, some brief touchdowns if nothing else. Intense rainfall, large hail with this storm system behind it. A lot of rain extending over to Lamesa still, beginning to taper off. Moderate showers in the Sand community, Mungerville, back up around Ashmore in general. Keep in mind, tornado warning still exists there, but as Matt had mentioned, that's about to work its way out of our viewing area. I know we have some viewers in Ackerley, so that's why we're tracking this storm system. I'm not so sure we have any in Vealmore and south of Ackerley. That's kind of in the Midland, Odessa area there, but just to let you know, you need to stay in a safe place. If you're in Ackerley along 178, Sparringburg, you probably have some hail in your area right now, and then back along County Road 0, same thing there, but that's associated with that major storm going generally southeast. You can tell from the color gradient there again of the intensity and the size of that hail. Back around Patricia, I know we have viewers there. The storm is not a threat to you guys, and it looks like the storm has cleared Lamesa, although there's still some rain falling there. The wind's likely very gusty as well. Overall, this storm will make its way out of the region. There's still a thunderstorm watch in effect for Lubbock and most of the South Plains, several more hours. It may end sooner if this complex moves out. In fact, it looks like they've just dropped Lubbock and Brownfield in this area over towards Post out of that. So the thunderstorm watch now is from Hobbs, Seminole, Lamesa. It does include Gale and Snyder. Obviously, it stays in place in these areas, which is more favorable for severe weather. Now, we could still have showers and storms continue in the central South Plains, but that in general should be winding down. It looks like things in the central area is calming down there, Matt, but again, watching the areas between Lamesa, Gale, particularly south of there.
Yeah, and it's, I mean, just stepping outside here in Lubbock, you can tell it is cool outside. Things have really stabilized here around Lubbock and most of the South Plains. So thanks to the Storm Prediction Center and the National Weather Service here for dropping the severe thunderstorm watch for most of our area. And as we went into today, and even as once the watch was issued, we had mentioned severe thunderstorm watch, but isolated tornado development was possible. It wasn't a tornado watch because it wasn't expected that every storm was going to produce a tornado. We knew, however, that there would be at least isolated potential near this front and wherever the most intense storm formed. This formed up in Hockley County, moved through Brownfield, and now we've got this strong rotation indicated here. The good news is I don't see as strong of a couplet, in other words, meaning as strong of a velocity return, the greens and the reds coming together as what I saw when this was over Lamesa. So this thunderstorm is moving southeast, and that strong rotation is pretty much on top of Ackerley right now. So as the storm continues moving south and east, it'll be moving out of our area. The good news is that the rotation returns, and what we're seeing here on radar is not as organized. Can also go back to Adam Young's live perspective, and he's actually all the way down into Howard County now. He's just staying out ahead of the storm, getting to the safe part of it and where he needs to be out ahead of this storm. So again, he's been staying out ahead of the storm, but based on what he mentioned here just a few minutes ago, he was not seeing the funnel down to the ground. So the good news there, we will be checking here to see what the storm, what sort of storm damage there might be in Lamesa, but the good news is based on what we're seeing on radar here in the ground truth report, it does not look as significant of a storm, at least compared to what it was earlier. as it's moving through Ackerley here. So, John, I believe we will be able to have you wrap up the weather coverage here. We'll actually go into our news coverage that was originally going to be here, kind of like Tech softball. We were in a delay here, but we'll be getting to that news here in just a bit. But that's the good news, John, is that the rotation has weakened quite a bit, actually, last couple scans near Ackerley, and still need to be in a safe place to ride this storm out, as the storm is now moving into Martin County. But that thunderstorm is moving southeast at a pretty good clip, about 35 miles per hour, John.
All right, thanks there. And again, appreciate that updates there. And again, we appreciate Adam down in that area still watching that storm. Still some hail potential, Sperryburg, maybe west of Ackerley. We zoom back out, you'll see showers, thunderstorms still around the South Plains, and that activity tapers off as it gets towards Lubbock. Light showers here, heavier rainfall down in Seminole. Still that thunderstorm watch in effect in the southern South Plains. Obviously a thunderstorm warning south of Lamesa all the way down to western areas of Borden County, southwestern Borden County, and the tornado warning there. Moderate to heavy rainfall in Seminole. So most of the danger is decreasing with this storm system as it works its way out of the South Plains, but we'll continue to monitor that storm working its way towards Gale. You don't have the tornado threat there, but you may get some heavy rainfall and gusty winds. Same thing may happen over in the Snyder community. Outflow and the movement of this storm system in general will probably lead to more showers and thunderstorms here and continue the activity back in parts of Gaines County for a little while longer as that. So I think we're going to turn to news now, and we'll just move on from there.
Okay. Thank you, John, Matt, and Adam, and thank you for joining us for this special report at 7:07. And the plan is for Wheel of Fortune to go on tonight at 7:30. Storms are impacting Red Raiders here at home, and they have been also in Oklahoma City tonight.
Texas Tech softball was supposed to take the field for the Women's College World Series. How exciting at 6 o'clock, but as you heard, the game was delayed and it was intended
We're taking a look again at severe thunderstorm watch currently in effect till 11 o'clock this evening for Hobbs, Seminole, Lamesa, and Snyder. It no longer includes Lubbock or Brownfield or surrounding communities. There's still quite a bit of thunderstorm activity down to the south, as you can see here. Still a warning in effect, but most of those are out of our viewing area. Now, there's still a flash flood warning in effect for Lamesa area south and the Dawson County area. Generally, thunderstorms, the heaviest activity in this region between Seminole and Lamesa. That severe thunderstorm has moved well south of Ackerley. Heavy rainfall there. Other showers still occurring all the way up near the Post area. Some new development around Rawls and Crosbyton. Those are moderate showers. Nothing severe indicated with that at this point. And as you look at a quick look at the temperature, it's 65 in Lubbock with a wind of 16. Moisture levels are high. These clouds will hang around during the night as these showers move out. There's still a slim chance of a few storms tomorrow in the morning. 50s in Freona, all the way to the 60s in Snyder. Afternoon highs 70s in the northern areas down to Snyder. And again, that severe thunderstorm watch remains in effect till 11 o'clock this evening, but may be canceled sooner if these storms move out of the area. Karen and Abner.
Thank you, John, and thank you very much for joining us for this special report. Wheel of Fortune is next, and we'll see you back here tonight at 10.
Hope you only get welcome rain this evening. Have a nice evening.